MCP tools let AI agents call your APIs, but those tools alone only give agents those capabilities. They don't tell the agent how to use those capabilities effectively. MCP prompts solve this. They are reusable templates that combine your tools into workflows so the users get value without needing to know how to prompt the agent themselves. You get to encode your domain expertise into that prompt, and your MCP server benefits from it. Think of it like the tools are the actions and the prompt is the playbook. And I'm going to show you how it works in Zuplo. So over here, I have a project that I already have set up. It's a bookmark manager that I've exposed as an MCP server. So I've got 3 tools that are attached to API endpoints, and those are exposed as tools. I've got a tool for listing bookmarks. I have one for saving bookmarks, and I've got one for deleting bookmarks. And we can actually add this MCP server right now over in MCP Jam and just see what it is that we're getting back from that. So if I grab this deployment URL from here, go to MCP Jam, you could also use the Model Context Protocol Inspector here if you want to, or MCP Host if you're a fan of the command line. And we'll add this bookmark manager. It's HTTP. We'll add our MCP endpoint right there, and then we can add this, and you can see that it's gone ahead and it's connected. So let's explore this just a little bit here. So you can see I have a list of tools, 3 of them available: list bookmark, save bookmark, and delete bookmark. That matches up with what we have here in the MCP server, and that then maps back to the API endpoints that we have inside of the gateway. But that's all that's exposed right now, and that's fine for the basic usage. But if I want to add some additional extra elements in here that will help the user get more value out of this MCP server, what I can do is add an MCP prompt that's going to provide different functionality and perhaps combine tools together without the user necessarily knowing how to do it. So I'm going to add a prompt that is going to help to summarize the recent bookmark activity. It's going to look at all of the bookmarks that I've recently saved across a time period that I can specify, and then go ahead and do a summary of it, and also tell me some recommendations about other things that I might want to consider based off the stuff that I've been reading. In order to do that, we need to first of all define the prompt that we want to use. So if we go back over to the Zuplo portal, what we do here to start with is we're going to need to add our prompt, and we'll do it using a new module. So I'll add an empty module, and we'll call it the research Roundup prompt. So if I go and open this up, it's going to be blank to start with because it's empty. And what I'll do is I'll take the prompt and I'll add it in here, and I'll walk you through it rather than write the whole thing out. So this effectively acts as a response that Zuplo is going to give based off of a request. And all it's doing is returning a block of JSON, this messages array right here, with a single message in it, acting as the assistant that effectively spells out the prompt that we want to put into the context of the AI client that we're using, whether it's Claude Code or something else, it doesn't matter. And this is going to be available for any user to use effectively like a shortcut that will go ahead and do all of this in order, but it will do this every single time based off of the prompt that's been specified here. So we can save that. That is the prompt setup, and you can add multiple messages in here if you want to. You can also add multiple different prompts in this exact same manner. So now to actually expose it as MCP tools, what we'll do is go in, and first of all, we will create a new root for this. And it will be a post root, and we'll call it /prompt/research-roundup. And we'll give it a name. And then what we want to do down here in the request handler is actually set this to a function. So we've got our research roundup, and we'll do the default export. What this is going to do is when this particular URL actually gets hit off the back of the MCP tool that it's connected to, it's going to return that response that we saw inside of the prompt. And now that we've got the endpoint in place, what we need to do is actually expose this as an MCP tool. So in the portal, we have the 3 tools we already have exposed listed here. If we click on this, we can see that we have our new root. Actually, I'm going to give that a better name than this. Let's just jump back in here, and we will call it research roundup. Now we'll go back to select tools and we can see that it's available here to select. So I will add that, and that is now added into the list of the MCP server tools that we're exposing. So if I save it, what we can do is go back over to MCP Jam, and in our servers, we will disconnect that for a second and then connect it once again. And now we have our list of tools, but if we also go over to this prompt right here, we'll see now that we've also got our research roundup prompt as well. So if I hit get prompt, what we'll see is the response come back, and you can see that this is what you actually get. That messages array that we defined inside of the module that was created has come back, and this is what will get injected into the client context window, depending on whatever client it is that you are using. We can test this inside of MCP Jam, but I'm going to jump over to Claude Desktop and demonstrate it over there. So that's everything set up as far as Zuplo is concerned. Now let's take a look at it in action. What I can do now is jump into settings and go to connectors, and I can add a custom connector right here. So we'll call it bookmark manager. Add our /MCP route, and then we can add it in right here. That's been added. You can see the bookmark manager is there. There is no additional configuration because we haven't added any things like rate limiting or security, or there is no authentication in this case, but it would be good to add that, and we can do that afterwards if we want to. But just for demonstration purposes, what we'll do is open up a new chat, and we can see here, if we go down here, we've got our selection of add from bookmark manager, and there you can see what has been exposed in this case is this prompt. And so we can go ahead and say, I want to look back over the last 2 days of things that I've added into the bookmarks and get a summary of them. So it loads it in, and then you can run that and it will go ahead and do the research that it's been asked specifically inside of that prompt. So it's going to need to run this now. So we'll say, yeah, that's fine. It's going to need to list the bookmarks first, which is what we specified in the prompt. And once it's got the bookmarks back from that particular tool, it's then going to go ahead and do a summary of them based off of what the prompt has said I should be getting as a user. So we can see it's going through, it's pulled the last few that I added in there, and then it goes ahead and figures out what it is that I've been looking at and gives me the summary of each of those things, and of course then makes some suggestions on where I might go next with the research that I've been doing. That is one of the ways that you can use MCP prompts to add lots of additional functionality and domain-specific knowledge to the tools and help your AI client to use tools much more effectively and provide significant value to the users of your MCP service.